The sound of fish bones crunching underfoot. The smell of sulfur and decay hits you before you see the water. Summer morning in California's desert. The shore is crusted white with salt and skeletal remains. Abandoned yacht clubs face a shrinking lake. Warning signs tell you not to touch the water. This was once California's Riviera. Frank Sinatra speedboat races, waterfront real estate that sold faster than developers could build it. Today, the Salton Sea is dying. The water is twice as salty as the ocean. The exposed lakebed releases toxic dust into the air. Children in surrounding towns have double the state average for asthma. And it started with criminal negligence in 1905. But beneath this environmental disaster, companies are drilling for lithium. 18 million metric tons of it to power the electric vehicle revolution. The question is whether saving the planet means sacrificing the people who live here. This is the story of California's $500 billion mistake. If you want to see more stories about the places America left behind and the decisions that abandoned them, subscribe to Allan's Abandoned America and hit that notification bell to stay updated. The Salton Sea wasn't supposed to be here, but it also wasn't the first time water filled this basin. For tens of thousands of years, the Colorado River periodically changed course, filling the Salton Basin to create Lake Cahuilla, a prehistoric lake far larger than what we see today. The basin would fill, then dry, then fill again over geological time. This is an endorheic depression, a sink with no natural outlet. What happened in 1905 was human error accelerating a natural cycle. The California Development Company was rushing to divert Colorado River water into the Imperial Valley for irrigation. In late 1904, desperate to bypass silt-clogged channels, engineers cut unprotected channels into the western bank of the river in Mexican territory. No control structures, no reinforcement, just open cuts to let water flow. They knew it was dangerous. They did it anyway. When floods hit in early 1905, the unreinforced channels eroded rapidly. The entire flow of the Colorado River diverted into the Salton Basin. For 18 months, the full volume of one of America's largest rivers poured into the desert. The California Development Company could not stop it. The Southern Pacific Railroad finally intervened, dumping millions of tons of rock and debris into the breach. By February 1907, they had sealed it. The result was a lake 376 square miles across, 227 feet below sea level, 15 miles wide, and 35 miles long. For 40 years, the Salton Sea just sat there. No towns, no purpose, just a massive lake where salt flats used to be. Then someone decided to make money from the mistake. Between 1950 and 1956, the California Department of Fish and Game stocked the sea with saltwater fish: orangemouth corvina, sargo, and Gulf croaker. The salinity was still moderate, close to ocean levels, and the fish thrived. Sport fishing exploded. Developers saw opportunity. In 1962, architect Albert Frey designed the North Shore Beach and Yacht Club, a $2 million development with the largest marina in Southern California. It drew Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Jerry Lewis, and the Beach Boys. Desert Shores, Salton Sea Beach, Bombay Beach, Salton City. Entire communities sprang up. Yacht clubs, marinas, speedboat races, water skiing competitions. In the 1960s, the Salton Sea State Recreation Area attracted 1.5 million visitors annually, more than Yosemite. 1,500 people lived here year-round. Real estate developers sold waterfront lots as fast as they could survey them. This was affordable paradise, desert sunshine, California dreaming with actual water. But as the champagne flowed at the North Shore Yacht Club, a toxic secret was already building beneath the surface. A secret that would turn this oasis into a graveyard. The Salton Sea has no outlet. Water flows in from the New River, often cited as one of the most polluted rivers in the United States, the Alamo River, an agricultural runoff from Imperial Valley farms. 4 million tons of dissolved solids enter the sea every year. Salts, minerals, chemicals. Water leaves only through evaporation, 66 inches per year. When water evaporates, everything dissolved in it stays behind. In 1960, salinity was 33,000 parts per million, about the same as the ocean. By 1980, it was 44,000 parts per million. Today, it is over 70,000 parts per million, more than double the Pacific Ocean. The fish that thrived in the 1950s could not survive the 1980s. Then agricultural runoff intensified. Fertilizers, pesticides, selenium, nitrogen, phosphorus. For decades, Imperial Valley farm drainage flowed into a lake with no exit. The nutrients triggered massive algal blooms. When the algae died and decomposed, they depleted the water of oxygen, and millions of fish died. The decomposition released hydrogen sulfide, the rotten egg smell that now defines the sea. In 1976 and 1977, Tropical Storm Kathleen flooded the resorts. Water rose several feet in a matter of hours, inundating the yacht clubs and motels that had just been built. The combination of flooding, dead fish, and an unbearable smell ended the boom almost overnight. Property values collapsed. Homes sold for fractions of their original price. By the 1990s, the resorts were abandoned. Marinas sat hundreds of feet from the receding waterline. The people who stayed did so because they could not afford to leave. In 2003, California signed the Quantification Settlement Agreement. It was the largest transfer of water from agriculture to urban areas in United States history. The Imperial Irrigation District agreed to transfer up to 300,000 acre-feet of Colorado River water annually to the San Diego County Water Authority and to coastal cities. The Salton Sea is maintained by agricultural tailwater that is runoff from Imperial Valley farms. Less irrigation water means less runoff, and less runoff means the sea shrinks faster. Before 2003, annual inflow was 1.2 million acre-feet. By 2022, it was 1 million. Projections show it dropping to 700,000 acre-feet as conservation measures increase. The state mandated a 15-year mitigation period with extra water deliveries to slow the decline. That expired in 2017. Since then, the sea has entered a rapid collapse. It has lost 36 square miles since 2003. The shoreline recedes 1 to 2 feet per year. As the water disappears, it exposes the lakebed, toxic playa coated with decades of agricultural chemicals. When the wind blows, that dust becomes airborne. The exposed lakebed isn't just salt. It contains selenium, pesticides, and fine-grained silts that easily become airborne particulate matter. During high wind events, PM10 concentrations reach 10 times the federal limit. The surrounding communities, predominantly low-income and Mexican-American, suffer the consequences. The USCAIRE study documented childhood asthma rates in Imperial County at 20 to 24%. The state average is 5 to 8%. Pediatric emergency room visits for asthma are 150 per 10,000 children. The state average is 80 per 10,000. This isn't historical, this is happening now. About 400 people still live around the sea in places like Bombay Beach, North Shore, and Salton Sea Beach. Abandoned homes with doors open, streets empty. The so-called beach is a crust of salt and fish bones. Scientists estimate that by the 2030s, the sea could be completely dry. What remains will be a massive toxic dust bowl in the middle of Southern California, affecting millions downwind. But something else is happening beneath the dying sea. In December 2025, Imperial County released the draft Lithium Valley specific plan. The Salton Sea region sits atop an estimated 18 million metric tons of lithium. This resource is critical for electric vehicle batteries. Companies are drilling into the known geothermal resource area, extracting superheated brine from more than a mile underground. Using direct lithium extraction technology, still unproven at this industrial scale, they pull lithium from the brine, then re-inject it to maintain reservoir pressure. People are calling it California's white gold rush, a 51,000-acre industrial zone, geothermal baseload energy, domestic lithium supply for the green energy transition. But there is a conflict. These operations require significant water, the same water the sea desperately needs. Environmental groups have filed court challenges, arguing that racing toward lithium production could accelerate the sea's collapse. The question becomes, do we sacrifice a local community and ecosystem for global climate goals? California wants both. a restored sea, and a lithium economy. The math suggests you cannot have both. Would you support a green energy project if it meant a local community had to breathe toxic dust? Let me know in the comments. The Salton Sea was created by criminal negligence. Its resort boom was built on denial. Its collapse was predictable but ignored. This was not a natural disaster. Every decision, from stocking fish in a terminal lake to building resorts without addressing water quality and signing water deals without mitigation plans, engineered the catastrophe we see today. What makes the Salton Sea different is that it is still unfolding. Children still breathe toxic dust. Families still live in homes worth less than the cost to demolish them. And now, industrial operations drill for lithium while the lake continues to die. In the 1960s, you could water ski here. Frank Sinatra drank at the yacht club. Families bought waterfront property for their retirement. Today, warning signs tell you not to touch the water. Tomorrow, there might not be water at all. Just dust, lithium mines, and the memory of California's Riviera. The lake that should not exist became the resort that could not last. Now it is the disaster that will not end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more abandonment documentaries from across America.